Macgaibo.
Hi, I'm Magaibo. I'm just sitting at a gate in Perimeter. Every time that I do gate ganking, I try and do something a little bit different just to try and mix it up, because it can be a little repetitive and boring sitting around for a long time. So what I'm doing just now is, instead of using a Thrasher, which I normally do, I am using a Svipal, which is a tactical destroyer. It's probably about twice as much, maybe even 3 times as much to fit as a Thrasher. But there are advantages to it. Firstly, the Thrasher has got 7 guns. This only has 4. But with the bonuses, especially if you're in sharpshooter mode, it's the equivalent of having about 8 guns. You've also got improved tracking, and you can lock an awful lot faster as well. And if you're trying to catch stuff as it jumps through the gate, then that stuff matters. That can buy you an extra tick or so, which means that you're far more likely to get the kind of things that you want to get. And if you're talking about the difference between 20mm for the full Thrasher fit and maybe 60mm for the Svipal, that 40 million could end up getting you large skill injectors, large skins, all the different high value items that I like to appropriate from people. So I mentioned I'm in Perimeter. I'm on the Erlen Gate in Perimeter, which is so much quieter than sitting next door through in Jita. The amount of loot thieves in Jita has gone through the roof, and there's also a significant increase in the amount of gankers that are around as well. So sometimes it's nice to just come out to a quiet part of Perimeter where there is still a decent amount of traffic without too much in the way of competition. So the kind of traffic that you get at this gate is stuff on the way to Jita that comes through Perimeter, and people who've been at Jita but also the Tranquility Trading Tower in Perimeter, and they're making their way back to wherever it is that they reside. There's a couple of reasons why this gate's quite good. Firstly, it's pretty much the only place where you will get both people from the Tranquility Trading Tower and from Jita coming through. And if either of those people are autopiloting, this is going to be the first non-Jita place where you'll be able to find them, shoot them and kill them. Certainly if people are coming out of the Tranquility Trading Tower, which is the most active user market in a player-owned station, and they're autopiloting back home, this is where you'll catch them. Now my little fleet today is a Thrasher. I'm obviously in the Svipal. I am boosted, and my looter is in a Jaguar. And the reason it's a Jaguar is because it's fast, it can defend itself, and I'm not really going to be shooting anything that's going to have a cargo hold bigger than what a Jaguar has. So it's perfect. The other thing I'm going to do today is just have a bit of a nosy scan around, see what it is that people are flying around with. So I'm going to scan stuff which I wouldn't be able to kill as well. Voyeuristic side of me likes the idea of having a peek through people's ship windows and see what it is that they're taking to market. Some people really do not take well to being scanned or even being yellow boxed at all, and you see it particularly in Jita. Maybe people who aren't regulars, but people who react rather badly and spend an awful lot of time orbiting you like a little fly buzzing around, or even try to bump you. Now I would think if push came to shove, I would be able to take possibly a destroyer, maybe an industrial depending on how it's tanked, but and probably all frigate-sized ships with the exception of an assault frigate. And that's because I've got 2 ships here. So if I hit the first volley with my ult in the Thrasher, and then come back to Magaibo and then quickly hit with Magaibo, then MacGyver's probably going to get 2 volleys away. So that would be 1 from the Thrasher, 2 from the Svipal. And that could well be enough to take out most frigates. These skins, I've said it before, when I scan a skin, I don't know what to expect. Some skins are worth less than 100,000 ISK, and some of them are worth billions. But the reason I wouldn't really be that interested in killing an industrial ship today is I'm not going to fit very much of that cargo in my little Jag here. And with a video that I did the other day of killing all Synesis, and then another video that I made after that, I've had my fill for the moment of shooting things with a tornado. So there's a Macarial there with 651,000 cargo. And I think it's not particularly one big thing, it's just faction mods that he's got sitting around there. But that isn't unusual at all to see a large battleship like that with a really large value cargo. You get a lot of freighters slow boating their way past here, like this chap here. And again, you would expect them to have cargo with the value in hundreds of millions, if not billions. So here's a Heron. Now I know this name, Bad Bug Alpha. I've seen this guy in the past. But he's got quite a small cargo today. So we'll let him be. Now I think this gate maybe more than any other. And you've seen how busy it's getting here, but at this gate more than many other, I think I've caught. Now why can't I lock onto that shuttle? That's very odd. Oh, that was strange. At this gate more than any other, I've caught frigates autopiloting with injectors and large value items. So I think what they often do is come out of Jita Station, warp to the perimeter gate, warp and jump, and then as they're in warp, they just switch on the autopilot. They probably think, I'm out of Jita, I've got past the worst of it, and then they meet me here. And there is something really relaxing about sitting at this gate. It's not like the utter madness of Jita. It's like fishing. So this is the Praxis here, and it's today on the login. If you've logged in every day so far, then today's the date that the Praxis was given out as a free ship to Omega pilots. I fully expect to see a long line of Praxis being autopiloted to Jita to be sold. I will just quickly show you my Svipal fit here. So it's got the 4 280mm howitzer artillery. You could, if you wanted, fit a missile launcher as well if you wanted to throw in a light missile as well. Probably not going to cause that much extra damage. My rigs here are the ones that speed up cargo scanning time. Again, time is everything here. 3 sensor booster 2s with the scan resolution script, again to help you lock quicker, and 4 gyro stabilizers 2 for maximum damage. I am remote sensor boosted by my alt, and it makes a hell of a difference. When I move myself into sharpshooter mode, you can see the bonuses here. I don't know if you can see that. 33.3% bonus to small projectile turret tracking speed, small projectile turret damage, 100% bonus to sensor strength and targeting range, and 66% bonus to sensor dampener and weapon disruptor resistances. We're not using that last one. So it's a lot of extra oomph that you get. And the other thing that's going on at the moment, as you'll see from the screen, fireworks. Now if something's autopiloting towards me, and I can see it's got a moderate or even high value, and it's something small like a Corvette or a Shuttle, I would just switch to my Thrasher here behind and just use him instead to shoot it. I'm not going to throw away my Svipal just for the sake of it. Now what usually happens when I'm sitting at this gate for a while is I start thinking about all of the people jumping in and out of Jita with large skill injectors, going from the Tranquility Trading Tower to 4-4 in Jita, loaded with lots of goodies that they've bought in one place and that they're selling in another. And I start thinking about all of that fun, all of that stuff moving while I'm through here at the other end of the system. But I've got to fight it. I'm here to relax, I'm here to chill out. There's less chaos here. I'm like someone on holiday that just can't stop thinking about work. But we'll get there. Now that Drake there, it's got the heavy missile on board, and there's something in my primal brain the moment that it sees that, it thinks, oh, large skill injector. It's pointing the wrong way, but I have seen people in the past have those large missiles in a contract and labelling it large skill injector. I don't know if that works or if it's ever worked, but you can't blame them for trying. Let's see if we can get a really large value scan. See how the other half live. So here's a Providence. Just under $1 billion, mostly in Navy Cat boosters. Now that's 678 mil in an Okator, which is about what you'd expect to see. It does have a decent tank on it, and it would be my hauler of choice if fit right. The other reason that this is a great little gate is because people have become really aware that the Jita gate in perimeter, that jump from Jita to perimeter or back again, heavily populated with gankers. So what a lot of people are doing now is coming to perimeter and then not going through that gate, because if I just show you, a lot of people are jumping through Marassi and then going in the Jita gate in Marassi because it's only one extra jump, but it's a lot safer. But that means you've still got to pass me here, which is why this is a lovely little gate. So it's become a busy little gate with people here who've jumped through and just stayed. I think you have to be aware that if you do jump through and then disconnect, it's possible that your ship, while to you it's disconnected, to the server and to everyone else is still sitting there in space and can still be killed. It isn't always the case that as soon as you disconnect, the ship flies off. If there's some kind of error, then as far as everyone else is concerned, your ship hasn't disconnected, it's just AFK. Now that would have been a nice Heron if it was autopiloting. 164 mil. So the chap's obviously been doing quite a fair bit of exploring. So a Terra is a T1 Galente Industrial. And that one's fairly packed. Over 200 million. Anything where you going over the 200-300 million mark in an industrial is big. In a T1 industrial is beginning to make you a target, depending on how you're fit. The people who gank T1 industrials and blockade runners with tornadoes will be interested in your ship fit. Look at that Eagle, which is a heavy assault cruiser, has 1 billion in he's another one, look at him. He's got 1 billion in skill books and he's autopiloting. But as soon as he realizes that he's being scanned there, he backed off and started going in the other direction. So who are you? He's not a new player, he's been playing since 2013. And he's autopiloting with over 1 billion on board. Oh dear. I mean, he's safe from me. I mean, there is no way, unless he does something really stupid, that I'm going to be able to kill him, because I've only got 4 rounds of ammo in here. So the only way that I would really be able to get a kill mail for him would be if he tried to kill me and got concorded, and I managed to jump on that kill mail. As I'm filming this, it's a couple of weeks after the Eve Fanfest was on, and they had the keynote speeches at the beginning which covered a lot of the new changes that were coming up. And there was a couple that I found really interesting. One of them was the changes to faction warfare, which sounded really good. It sounded like it was more than just a tweak. It was actually a changing of the foundation of how faction warfare is going to work. And that makes sense, because you can't just have Kildari and Galenti being affected by fights that go on in one system. If there are other corps and alliances that also live in that system, it doesn't make sense to think that such a seismic war wouldn't have any impact on the other people who live there. So it's very interesting that they're expanding it beyond people who are fully committed to faction warfare. But one of the changes that was mentioned and hasn't really been picked up on, at least not in the places that I've seen, is that there was a almost by the way mention that there would be a clampdown on griefing new players. And I've had a couple of people ask me what I think of that. I think you've got to be very careful that you don't conflate griefing and ganking. I know there will be some people who think that it is both the same, but I'm purely ganking for profit, for risk. I'm just looking for high value items that are being poorly stored that I can liberate. What I wouldn't be doing is killing miners in ventures, shooting people who've just started just for the sake of it. I know that is a style of gameplay that other people engage in, and Eve's a sandbox. You can do whatever you like, but to me that's the difference between ganking and griefing. Ganking is it's like a highwayman. Stand and deliver your money or your life. Whereas griefing is more like beating up people just to try and get a buzz out of it. The fact that CCP chose to use the term griefing new players means I think that they're going to offer them some kind of protection against people who shoot them just to get jollies. I guess there's a number of ways in which that could actually practically be carried out. Like, for example, maybe if you're new and you're within your first couple of weeks, you could have an instant Concord response. So if someone shoots you and you're in 0-6 space, then people who are griefing wouldn't be able to take advantage of the slow Concord response times. But again, that's not going to help you, because I suppose you're already going to be dead if you're in a venture. But I don't know what they've got in mind. I don't know if you've got any ideas as to what stopping griefing of new players would look like. Would they make them completely immune to player damage for the first week or so? In which case you would just get people using new players to transport high value items knowing that they're not going to be able to be killed. So again, that wouldn't work either, would it? You just think of a workaround and immediately there's an exploit for people who aren't new. I don't know if you've seen this new shuttle that's been out for a couple of weeks called the Boo-Book, which is a regular shuttle, but it can't be scanned. And I posted about it on Twitter before the ship was launched, and I did get a couple of people asking me if it was a wind-up. But no, it's real, and it is now on the market. Just now it's selling for about 30 million. And the obvious advantage would be it can't be scanned, meaning that, I don't know, maybe wouldn't be ganked if you had high value cargo in it. But it's like the Leopard. If a ganker's sitting there and sees one, he's just going to shoot it. I've shot a couple. There was nothing in them. I don't know if anyone is going to be using them to ship stuff, like injectors or plex or whatnot. But I would say, don't. It's like flying with a target on your back. I mean, if I shot you with my regular Thrasher fit, that's 20 million for a 30 mil kill mail. Anything over that's going to be a bonus, isn't it? Now that's something you've got to look down here very quickly, because I did see somebody with billions and billions of these tags in a Synesis the other day, and it was when I was filming the Kill All Synesis video, but it was before I'd started recording. But it was about 10 billion of these tags that he had. Now here is a Fenrir, which is a kind of freighter, and you can see there 5 bill worth of cargo. And it isn't that he's carrying injectors or anything, it's just the sheer amount of T2 goods that he's carrying. There'll be some ships in there as well. Wow, it's never ending. So he's probably doing a run for his corp. Now I wouldn't be able to gank a freighter, but they are gankable, and there's a couple of systems which I won't name. I don't want to make life difficult for my ganking friends, but it requires 20 to 30, maybe even more pilots, coordinated, but it happens. Just go on Zkill, type in the names of some freighters, and then click on losses, and you will see exactly what's going on, where it's going on, and who's losing what. But people are losing billions, and they're losing them every day. Now I've been quite keen to try the new, is it Photon UI? But if I click on escape to see the settings, I don't have the tab here that I'm meant to have to switch on the Photon UI. So if anyone could tell me what I'm doing wrong there, that I can't switch it on, then I'd appreciate that. That Tristan's jumped through and he's not moving, but I think that's the pilot who was here earlier as well. So I'll just tag him with a little number, and it lets me know that I've scanned him already. I won't be going back to do it again. Then we see another Praxis with just a bunch of crap on it. And here's a freighter which has an Iteron Mark V inside it, which is like a tiny hauler. So it's kind of like it's got a little baby hauler in its belly. Maybe that's where Iterons come from. So just a reminder that if you are doing this and you are scanning, this is where you want to look. Don't get distracted by all the shiny, because that's just a pile of crap up there. But you want to be looking at this. And the reason that I know that you're meant to be looking at this is because I never do it. I always look at this bit, and I regularly miss out on viable targets, because I'm not just looking at the bottom line. So it's not unusual for me to take a break, go and have some food, and then come back, leave my pilots where they are, and then find out that I've picked up some company, like this Hecate that seems to be just sitting around. Quite often I can be AFK, maybe working, maybe having some dinner, and when I return find that there's been anti-gankers or loot thieves just sitting there for quite some time, unaware, waiting for me to do something, and unaware that I'm not even in the room. That does make me laugh. So one thing I wanted to ask you guys about was the CSM, which is like a players' representative committee, and they get voted in every year. People stand for it, and you can, I think it's 2 or 3 years max you're allowed to stay on it if you get voted in, if you get voted back in. So from watching my videos, you'll probably know that I spend a lot of time in high sec. I've got a lot of love for low sec as well, and when I started off I spent a lot of time in 0-0 space. So what I'm looking for is for people to tell me, out of all the people that are putting themselves forward as a nominee for the CSM, who do you recommend? Is there anyone who's piqued your interest that isn't just from one of the large nullsec blocks, one of the top 5 alliances that just seem to throw in candidate after candidate for a rather predictable shortlist? I'm looking for somebody who's maybe a bit more inventive, left field, independent, someone who's maybe got more of a holistic view of Eve, someone who's maybe got some exciting ideas, original, someone who's aware that there is a life in high sec, and that with the changes coming up to low sec, that there's a lot of feedback and suggestions going to be needed there. So who do you recommend? I'm not even looking for someone who can represent ganking. I know that there are candidates that do that, but I mean we know a lot about it, and I don't know even if it's an area of the game where I would feel comfortable with pushing for changes to suit our gameplay. Isn't that odd? With every other style of gameplay, it's perfectly legitimate for people to ask for changes to put things in their favour. But with gankers, we always have to be inventive and work our way around the rules that have been put in place to protect everyone else. I mean, when I think about the last 5 years, the things that have changed to protect people from ganking has been things like the Plex Vault. It's been things like having ships, and we just talked about the Boo Book there, that are immune to cargo scanners, blockade runners. We've had autopiloting shut down from 15 kilometers to 10 kilometers. And in all that time, the only change I can think of that's actually helped gankers who do things like I do is this little bit here at the bottom of the scan window, where it tells you the value of the cargo that you've scanned. That didn't used to be there. You used to have to quickly copy and paste that into a website called Eve-Appraisal and hope that you got a response fairly quickly. So you had to do that manually. That is the only change I can think of in the last 5 years that's benefited gankers. Also, the fact you can remotely use large skill injectors has meant that it's actually a miracle that we get any of these things. Oh, stiletto now. Do you see that? I'm having that. Let's see if it dropped. Just gonna get my looter out of there. I don't think it dropped, but we'll see. So I'm just gonna get my main player out of there. Left a wee bit of loot behind. I don't know if my booster's close enough to pick it up. Oh yeah. What I was shooting at there, I'll come back to what I was saying. 29 cataclysmic exotic filaments, which come to 472 million. And if I look at the kill report, we can see They didn't drop. Not at all. And the reason I can tell that by looking at the kill mail is you'll see that some of it is green and some of it has a dark background. The green stuff is what dropped. And when I say dropped, what I mean is it shows up in the rec for you to collect. You can loot that. The stuff with the dark background didn't. If you are part of Northern Coalition, you should get in touch with Hestia or Bosa and ask him why he was autopiloting in high security space with 500 million almost of cargo. Now this value system in game, the total worth is wrong. It's not 26 million, we know that. If I look at this kill on Zkill, we can see it is 497,372,182 ISK, and the cargo that didn't drop there is 472 million of that. Dude, what are you thinking? So anyway, the point that I was making was that out of all the different styles of play you've got in Eve, it's the gankers who have to work around the rules that are there for everybody else. I take it back then, if there's someone on the CSM who thinks that they could fight for gankers, then that might be a refreshing point of view. It's certainly not something that I've been made aware of in the past, and I said earlier that I felt uncomfortable with it because we're there to take from other people, but why not? Why can't we have an original point of view of somebody pointing out that things have been swinging against gankers for so long? Yeah, equality for gankers. I'm up for this. But if you know of anyone who's maybe got more of a sway towards low sec, ganking, anything more original, anyone who isn't just saying the same stuff over and over again and is standing as a CSM candidate, put in a little comment below and I'll be interested in hearing about them. So I'm just going to wind it up there. A little bit of ganking chat. 1 kill, decent kill, no drop. I'll get back out there, and if I get anything decent, then I'll post it on my Twitter. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye now.